Adam Kahane, Solving Tough Problems, An Open Way of Talking, Listening, and Creating New Realities. Dive into the world of complex problem-solving with the book summary of Solving Tough Problems, An Open Way of Talking, Listening, and Creating New Realities by Adam Kahane. Learn how to navigate problems involving dynamic, generative, and social complexity, and understand the importance of open listening. Find out how Royal Dutch/Shell used scenario analysis to improve their strategic thinking and become more adaptable to change. Discover various listening styles, their effectiveness in problem solving, and how to effectively engage with others for better results. Kahane's insightful approach will change your perspective on resolving high-stakes, complex issues and pave the way for a more open-minded, collaborative approach to solving problems.
Solving complex problems with peace. In today's complex and violent world, finding peaceful solutions to high-stakes and complicated problems is a pressing issue. While straightforward issues can be handled by authoritative leaders, more complex problems with multiple parties involved require a different approach. Experts have identified 3 distinct categories of complex problems, which require creative solutions and strategic thinking to solve without resorting to violence or force. Dynamic complexity and its impact. Dynamic complexity refers to the interdependence of time and space and the cause and effect relationship, which presents limited negotiation opportunities. It can be challenging to identify the root cause of a problem with high dynamic complexity, as it may have originated from a distant time and place. A case in point is how the devaluation of Japan's yen had far-reaching effects on China's standard of living. Understanding dynamic complexity is crucial in comprehending the intricate relationships between events and their consequences. Problem solving in high and low generative complexity. When dealing with high generative problems, predicting future outcomes becomes difficult. This is the case in new states or those headed towards civil war. However, low generative complexity problems possess recognizable structures or traditional familial rules that ensure easy problem solving. Solving complex problems. Simple solutions for low social complexity problems are achievable due to shared values and common perspectives. High social complexity problems, however, involve multiple parties with varying views and values, making solutions difficult to find. These problems cannot be resolved by external authorities, and participants must work toward a solution together. Strategic thinking through scenario analysis. Learn how the Royal Dutch/Shell group of companies used scenario analysis to develop flexible and sensitive managers by observing the world with a broad perspective and identifying emerging trends. This allowed them to react quickly and challenge conventional wisdom for better future outcomes. The Royal Dutch/Shell group of companies used complex problem-solving scenarios that stimulated their strategic thinking. With an uncertain future full of unpredictable possibilities, the managers tried to stay alert and identify any changes in the variables that could affect their business environment over the long term. To achieve this, managers were taught to observe the world with a broad perspective and identify emerging trends. Gathering information from books, periodicals, seminars, and research firms, they talked to experts, commentators, scientists, journalists, and business people, evaluating the global business landscape's various aspects. Such factors included growing automobile use in various localities, changing nation-states, shifting oil economics, and international trade or environmental concerns. In one project, strategic planners developed 2 scenarios and presented their scenarios in meetings with company managers around the world. Local managers evaluated the scenarios in light of their market strength and weaknesses, helping managers become more flexible and sensitive to changes. The scenario analysis process challenged their conventional wisdom, enabling them to react faster than the competition. The planners recognized that each trend produced an opposite trend, and every problem posed a solution that produced a new problem. Every argument produced a rebuttal, leading to the understanding that scenario analysis could be applied to various problems that affect organizational strategies, emerging nations, or even nations undergoing fundamental internal changes. The managers learned how to see, hear, open up, and include the humanity of all stakeholders and themselves, and they could not develop creative solutions to complex human problems unless they could do so. Thus, the company's scenario analysis approach in identifying emerging trends was an effective tool that developed flexible, sensitive, and creative managers who could challenge conventional wisdom for better future outcomes. Scenario analysis, a pathway to tackling complex problems. The process of scenario analysis involves creating a group of people who represent all possible perspectives on a problem, and separating them into smaller groups to discuss the most plausible, rational events that could happen and shape the future. It is important to focus on what logically could happen, rather than what one wants to happen, in order to improve the ability to adapt to new challenges or understand what could happen in the future. Scenario analysis can influence and alter outcomes, and participants may feel empowered to create and even change the future. However, the future is difficult to predict because the same people trying to build it can also change it. To improve the chances of finding a solution to complex problems, it is necessary to engage involved, sympathetic participants and work with big-picture realistic events that could happen in the near future. Finally, the basis for all creativity is open listening, which is important in business, engineering, and politics. Effective listening in scenario analysis. Effective listening is crucial for scenario analysis to work in resolving complex issues. The involved parties need to be willing to listen and talk with an open mind. There are 4 essential forms of listening, including downloading, debating, reflective dialogue, and generative dialogue. Downloading involves listening only for confirmation of our beliefs, while debating is objective listening lacking creativity. Reflective dialogue is subjective listening that helps you understand the other person's perspective, while generative dialogue is the most empathetic form of listening, allowing you to put yourself in the speaker's place. Scenario analysis for nationalistic problems. Solving complex nationalistic problems with scenario analysis proves to be a challenging task as emotional and historic factors frequently hinder progress. Even representatives of different nations have tried using scenario analysis with mixed results due to these esoteric issues, such as blood feuds. Basque country turmoil. The Basque region was engulfed in chaos, with more than 850 deaths and 11,000 arrests. The people were divided, angry, and resistant to change, leading to a dangerous stalemate. Despite efforts to resolve conflicts, old grudges prevailed, and no one was willing to listen or work toward solutions. Paraguay's mental shackles. The overthrow of General Alfredo Stroessner, the long-standing Paraguayan dictator, was met with national euphoria. But the corrupt regime left lasting damage on the nation's political and social institutions. Paraguayans were conditioned to wait for the leader's orders, limiting public and private discussion, and inhibiting scenarios analyses. In essence, mental shackles seem to still bind the people, hindering their ability to envision potential futures. Endless violence. A scenario analysis exercise involving various groups in violent countries such as leftist guerrilla bands, rightist death squads, the military, academia, government, and the private sector can often lead to inconclusive results. In one particular case, the analysis produced a scenario that called for a new government to instill national order with military force. Unfortunately, this scenario continues to play out today, as there seems to be no end in sight to the violence. The art of facilitating complex problem solving. The contemporary world offers no simple solutions, and too many facilitators approach complex problems as mediators, unable to deliver lasting solutions. Instead, such problems require emotionally invested participants, including the facilitator, who are willing to explore the issue from different perspectives and reframe it from objective to subjective. To understand a problem from the inside and improve decision-making, scientists recommend relying more on intuition and empathy than knowledge. When working on complex problems, it's more efficient to listen and observe than to criticize and talk. Insolvable problem solving. Solving seemingly insolvable problems can be made easier by adhering to some guidelines. These include speaking freely, assuming you don't know everything, seeking out opposing viewpoints, moving out of your comfort zone, considering your actions' worthiness, being a good listener, synthesizing all ideas, engaging fully, dropping your defenses, and, most importantly, talking and listening with an open heart and mind. Although unconventional, this approach can lead to positive change by fostering openness and empathy towards others.
The key takeaways from solving tough problems include understanding the nature of dynamic, generative, and social complexity in problem solving, and adopting open listening as a basis for creativity and empathy. Utilize scenario analysis as an effective way to gauge plausible future events, and engage in genuine dialogue to reach viable solutions. Remember that being an emotionally invested participant in the process can shape the outcomes and lead to long-lasting positive change. By speaking freely, exploring different perspectives, and listening with an open heart and mind, we can cultivate our better selves and contribute to creating a better world.